Anybody having a good day among young people? You heard
Johnny Brantley is doing very well. Johnny Brantley is doing very well. We had limited reps for Demps and Moody. Mac Brown had a lot of carries that did decent. Trying to think of receivers. We held Deontay Thompson out. He's a little tight. He had a little tight hamstring, but he practiced full speed today. It really was not a very good scrimmage. Defense played well. But what'd you think for where we're at right now? I'm hitting the panic button a little bit. We got to get better faster than what we are right now. And I don't know if it's not that we're not good. It's just consistency of the offensive and defensive line. We got to get them all in there. And once we get them, once Patchen gets back and Xavier Nixon gets back, we'll look a little better on the offensive line. And you get DT and Carl and Omarius Hines all together, we'll look a little better. But right now it's not Florida football yet.
How much of that does have to do with just the injuries that are going on? And how
That's
much
training
guys
camp.
Not playing up to
It's training. It's every, coaches we panic every year at this time because we just finished 18 practices in whatever it was, 10 days or 15 days. So they're beat up pretty good.
Urban, back to the training camp thing for a second. As coach, you've always been known, and your former bosses have said, and your peers have said, you have an ability to push players and get the most out of them. How do you know sometimes when you get to that age with players, especially in training camp when it's hot, and you're grinding and they're grinding, and do you think about that sometimes? Well, have I stepped over the line a little bit here? Or how do you deal with that kind of thing when you push a player?
Well, I leave it up to my staff most of the time. I mean, I'll get involved a lot of times, but I mean, our staff and we want to push them to that line. I mean, that's what training camp's for. We want it hot. We don't want to be in an air-conditioned building. We want to be miserable and push them to that line because that's what's going to happen in Knoxville and that's what's going to happen on the road. And so we're preparing right now for for road games, not for home games, but we're preparing for road games. How do you do that? You make it miserable, you make it loud, you make it, and coaches screaming, yelling. That's the way we do things. And you try to push them to that point where they're not sure they want to keep going.
And you'll have some collateral damage. Every coach does. When you push players, you have players that
Not here. We haven't had that. We don't push them that far. I mean, we don't. The guys that leave are leaving for. We had 2 players leave, and that had nothing to do with being pushed. Had doing something with homesickness and another issue where they wanted to be home. But it wasn't. We went too long on a drill or something like that.
Couple final
playing
questions,
time,
guys.
or whatever. Playing time.
Playing time, and they're not. Kids are smart nowadays. They look at the guys in front of them, and that certainly had to do with one of them.